I sacrificed everything for financial freedom, and it destroyed my life. And I see you making the same mistake. The richest people I know, 13 divorces between the top 10, millions in the bank, no one to call on their birthday. And I was heading down the exact same path, working night shifts, grinding overtime, building side hustles. The goal was to retire early and then live life. But here's what nobody tells you about. Financial freedom without purpose is just expensive loneliness. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you the 3 traps that keep people stuck and the 1 formula that actually works. By the end, you'll know exactly what's worth chasing and what's slowly destroying you. Let's go. So I work shift works, nights, weekends, lots of overtime. And there's this weird thing that happens when you're chasing money that hard. You become a ghost in your own life. Your friends are at the barbecue, you're sleeping off their night shift, and they're playing badminton on a Saturday while you're working. They're doing brunch on a Sunday and you're home at 6 a.m. completely wrecked. And I convinced myself that it was worth it, grinding now, freedom later, right? I was stacking overtime, looking at investment properties, building an e-commerce business on the side. The plan was hit that magic number and then retire early. Then I'll have all the time in the world. Here's what actually happened. I would get home after a brutal 12-hour shift with an empty apartment. Everybody that I care about is either working or living their lives without me. And one morning hit me. What's the point of having all this money and free time if I've got nobody left to spend it with? I was so obsessed with buying freedom that I forgot to ask, freedom to what? With who? And then I learned something about billionaires that changed everything. But first, you need to understand the formula that gets everybody backwards. Here's what actually makes people happy, and this is backed by research. Independence plus purpose. Not one or the other, both. Independence alone, that's just isolation with a nice bank account. Purpose without independence, that's being trapped, even if you love what you do. You need both. And I see this pattern everywhere. People grinding to financial independence, sacrificing their health, their relationships, their entire social life, all focus on hitting that number so they can quit. But then what? If you've burned every bridge getting there, what exactly are you free to do? I know people making great money, but they have no one to celebrate with, no real friends because they're always working, their marriage is falling apart because they were never at home, and they got the independence, but they have zero purpose, and they're absolutely miserable. Now here's that billionaire thing that I mentioned. The top 10 richest men in the world. Guys that everybody wants to be like. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all of them. And between the 10 of them, there are 13 divorces. 13. You see the private jets, you don't see the kids who won't return their calls, the destroyed families, the 4th wife filing papers. You can't cherry pick someone's life. You take the whole package. Quick test. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're on an island, just you and maybe your family. Nobody else can see how you live, no Instagram, no neighbors, no coworkers. In that world, what would you actually want? A Lamborghini or something reliable? A 10,000 square foot mansion or a place with good view? A Rolex or a watch that tells time? I love cars and I have a Supra that I take to the track. And I genuinely enjoy driving it. But if I'm being completely honest, part of why I wanted it was to show people how I was doing and that I was doing well. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's worth being honest about it because here's the brutal truth. Nobody's thinking about you, not the way you think they are. I used to post photos of my cars online expecting, respect, validation. And yeah, some people liked it, but some people just scroll past. Because they are not thinking about me, they're just thinking about themselves. There's a saying, in your 20s, you worry about what everybody thinks. In your 30s, you decide that you don't care. And then in your 40s, you realize nobody was ever thinking about you in the first place. They were too busy worrying about themselves. Scientists studied lottery winners, and they found something insane. When your neighbor wins the lottery, your bankruptcy risk goes up by 2.4%. Your neighbor gets rich and somehow you end up more likely to be bankrupt. And why do you think that is? They would go buy a luxury car and you would finance one that you can't afford. They renovate and you would go into debt doing the same. They post vacation photos and you're checking credit card offers. This is an arm race that everybody's trapped in, and social media made it 1,000 times worse. Your comparison group used to be your actual neighbors, maybe some coworkers, and that's it. Now it's everybody on Instagram, everyone on YouTube, everyone on TikTok. So your definition of doing well isn't a comfortable life anymore. It's private islands with G-Wagons and multiple investment properties. And it makes it impossible to ever feel like you're doing enough because there's always someone with more. The comparison game is designed so you lose, and the only way to win is to stop playing. So what actually works? I found 3 things that actually changed everything. And the first one might surprise you. First, save 6 months of expenses. That's it. Here's why that number is magical. At some point, you're going to lose your job or get injured or something breaks. It happens. But if you have 0 savings, you'll be desperate. You take the first terrible job that you find. Bad pay, worse boss, and you have no choice. But with 6 months saved up, you can breathe, you can find a good job with people that you like, doing work that matters. Every dollar you save is buying you options. Even $100 give you more freedom than you had before. 1,000, 10,000, that's real power. Not to buy stuff, to buy choices. And second, find your purpose. This is personal. For me, I'm getting married soon, building a life with my fiance, and that's my purpose. Spending actual time with friends and family, being present, and not just grinding 24/7. For you, it might be different. Your kids, your community, building something meaningful, taking care of your parents. Whatever it is, you need something bigger than yourself. Because independence without purpose is just being alone with money, and that sucks. Third, think about and write down what you want people to say when you're dead. I guarantee it's not had a sick car or worked a ton of overtime or had a nice house. It's going to be, he was a good friend, helped some people, made us laugh, showed up when it mattered. Once you know that, it gets way easier to figure out what's actually worth your time and money. Tonight, write down what people will think of you after you die and what you want those people to say about you. If this hits you, watch the next video and I'll break down exactly how I save money while I do shift work. Drop a comment below. What's the one thing that you're spending money on? Is it just for status? Be honest. If nobody could see it, would you still buy it? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.